All praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. Gonna get into some of these precepts about the chariots. Now let's get Isaiah 31. Isaiah 31. I'm going to start at, let's see here. Isaiah 31:3, it says, "Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helped shall fall, and he that is holding shall fall down, and they all shall fall together. For thus saith the Lord, spoken unto me, like as the lion and the young lion roaring on his prey, when a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So shall the Lord of hosts come down to fight for Mount Zion and for the hill thereof." Isaiah 31:5. "As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also he will deliver it, and passing over he will preserve it." And that brings to mind, now when it says come down with birds flying, he's talking about these chariots. Now Isaiah 26. Isaiah 26 and 20, he say, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut the doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." So what are these chambers he's telling them to enter? These chambers that has doors. What is he telling them to enter? Now this is reminding me of Ezekiel. Because Ezekiel started his book off with this situation. Ezekiel chapter 1. Okay, it's talking about in verse 4. It say, "And I looked and beheld, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire." It says, verse 5, "Also out of the midst thereof came a likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of men." So out of this whirlwind came out of the north, that came out the north, was a great cloud. Now, this cloud had 4 living creatures in it with the likeness of men. So this cloud was something that these men was riding in. These living creatures was riding in. Now that reminds me of Isaiah. Let's go back to Isaiah 66. Let's see when Yahweh shall come What it say he's gonna, cause he's the deliverer now. That's what Isaiah 31 was talking about. When Yahweh come to defend Zion, he's gonna come like birds flying, and he's gonna deliver it. Now, 66, Isaiah 66, starting at verse 15, he say, "For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind." What did it say in Ezekiel? It said, out of the whirlwind was a great cloud. A great cloud came out of the whirlwind, and in that cloud, you had 4 living creatures with the appearance of a man. And Yahweh shall say he's coming with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebukes with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will he plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Okay. Now it talks about these chariots again in verse 20. It says, this is Isaiah 66 and 20, "And they will bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations upon horses and in chariots." See, these are same chariots that Yahushua is coming with, because these same chariots is going to bring the brethren, the Israelites, out of all nations. They're going to be brought into the chariots. It's like Isaiah 26. They're going to go into the chambers that has doors until the indignation pass. Because the indignation is coming, and they're going to be delivered from the indignation. Let me get that in Revelation. Because they're going to be delivered from the indignation. Revelations 11 and verse 12. It says, "And they heard a great voice from heaven saying, Come up hither." See? "And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud." See, that's what Ezekiel called it, a great cloud. That was coming out of a whirlwind. And Yahweh shall say the chariots is going to be in the whirlwind. Or his chariots is coming like a whirlwind. See? And then Revelation 1 and 6, is it 7? 1 and 7 says that he's coming with his cloud. He's coming on the clouds with great glory. That's Revelation 24 too. Because those clouds is gonna have the ability to take in the Israelites and deliver them from the indignation that's coming, with Isaiah 26 and 20. But look at verse 13. Well, no, let me finish the verse. It say, "And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them." See, they didn't say it didn't say on the clouds. It said in a cloud. See, they weren't just saying, "Oh, they went up in the sky and there was in the you could see them in the clouds." It said no, they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And why did they? Why was they taken up? Verse 13. "And in the same hour, meaning the same time, was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake was slain of men 7,000. were affrighted and gave glory to the God of heaven. See, they're being rescued from this great earthquake. Let's get Revelation 16. This great earthquake. What is the great earthquake gonna do? It said the city fell. The great city fell. Okay. Revelation 16. Let's see. 16 and 19 says the same thing. Well, 18 talks about the great earthquake. And then in 19 it saying the great city was divided into three parts. And the cities of the nations fell. And the great Babylon came to remembrance before God. So that's why the Israelites got to be delivered in the chariots. Oh, 15. 15 verse 2. Revelation 15 and 2. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, holding the harps of God. So they're going to be standing on the sea of glass, meaning they're going to be in the chariots looking down at the fire that was that great earthquake and that great hellfire. Now let's go back to Revelation 16. Revelation 16 and 21. It says, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague of the hail was exceedingly great. See, that's that fire that was mingled, and the ones that got the victory over the beast in his mark, in his image, they was looking down at the fire, standing on that glass in that chariot. They can stand and look and see what was going on the earth. You see? And so this is clearly in the Bible, but everybody can't see. That's why they say many are called, but few are chosen. Okay, what else we got? We got Isaiah. It's all over Isaiah. Isaiah 60. Now Isaiah 66 was kind of talking about this, but look at what the wording that Isaiah 60 and 8. It say, who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? See, this is what it's talking about. They're using the cloud situation as a metaphor or a similitude. Let's get this. Hosea 12 and 10. It say, I have spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. See, these visions that they having of that earthquake and the deliverance of the nation of Israel, they're using a similitude with the cloud situation. That cloud is a similitude for the chariots. And so pretty much this is what's going on. It's clearly in the Bible that these individuals is going to get beamed up in chariots. Now let me get Is it 1 Thessalonians 4:16? It says, "For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, and with the voice of an archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Mashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and we shall ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words." So it's gonna be, these clouds is a similitude for the chariots that's gonna have the Israelites inside of them, keeping them safe from the indignation, okay, that's coming to America mainly. All right, and I can get Matthew. You know, I really want to get Luke. Let me get Luke 21. Luke 21. It says 21:27, "And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory." They didn't say on the clouds, they said in a cloud. So when you go to Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 4, it says, "And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud." Now this great cloud had fire enfolding itself. That's lights. It had lights on it. And a brightness was about it. It was bright, lit up. See? The great cloud had lights around it. Clouds are just white, man. You don't have lights and all this mess going on. But this is what the similitude is talking about. And then look at let's go down a little bit. It says in verse 16, well, no, let's get verse 15. It says, "And now I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel under the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces." 16, it says, "The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl, and they 4 had one likeness. Their appearance and the work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel." See, that's how those chariots is going to be looking. Great clouds, and they're going to be like a wheel within a wheel. A cloud don't look like no wheel. Cloud just look like a puff of cotton or wool. But the situation is that these living creatures that's going to be delivered is going to be inside of the cloud. Look at verse 19. It says, "And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up." See, those chariots is like wheels. And they're going to be lifted up once they beam the children of Israel up inside of them. You see? But I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem and Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.